Good morning. I chuckle because I'm talking on assignment today, and it is challenging for me. And as I share what I'm about to share, you'll understand why I feel challenged. And if you don't understand, I will explain to you why I'm feeling so challenged. The title this morning is 2012 Source, Essence, and Awareness. I have been asked by Sage Bodisattva to participate in a project, the making of a documentary. I was asked to make a short video, 3 minutes or less, where I address these questions on awareness, the fundamental essence, and the source of all things. Number one, what's the common foundational substance that all things break down into? Number two, what is the source of this foundational substance? And three, who exactly is aware of all of this? This question actually, or the assignment actually came to me right around the time that I had come from the court where the attorney bought my house for $100, which was February the 15th. And I looked at it then, but I was just overwhelmed with all that was happening in my life and put it on a back burner and actually forgot about it till I was reminded yesterday. I thought at first it would be rather easy, but I know I pondered it back then before I put it on the back burner. And since I was reminded again yesterday, I've been pondering it throughout the day and throughout the morning today. In fact, when I went into the meditation room, I was directed back to the computer to put on a meditation audio that I haven't listened to in some time called My Central Message, which was produced by Wingmakers. And you can Google Wingmakers and you can no doubt find that on Wingmakers. It's copyrighted material, which they graciously sent me a copy of some time ago. But it's not for distribution. It's not up to me to distribute it. It's copyrighted by Wingmakers. And you can Google Wingmakers and find it. Pondering these questions, for me anyway, I think depends, the answers that I come up with depend on what my state of being is at the particular time. There are times in my life, quite honestly, when I feel so connected to all of life. And I feel as if I just simply know all about source and essence. And I am aware of the bigger picture. And yet again, there are times in my life, probably the majority of time, when I am in more of my amnesiac state. I'm not knowing, I'm not feeling the strong connection. It doesn't mean that I'm not connected any more than it does for anybody else, because we're always connected. What is the foundational substance? Consciousness, but that's not substance. Energy, but that's not substance, except when it is, of course. Whether you define it as the wave or the particle, the energy or the substance. And does anything break down into something else? Can we reduce everything to a common element, if you will? I mean, I thought of so many things came to mind as I was pondering this morning and as I pondered it before. Love is the essence of all things. And what is the source? The source is consciousness. Love comes from consciousness. And what is awareness? Awareness is being conscious of the consciousness. It's being aware that everything is interconnected. It's being aware of oneness and unity. There are so many people in the world who are still trying to prove separation and arguing in favor of limitations, arguing in favor of judgment, arguing in favor of their religious training, which is a mistraining completely. And I'm flattered and yet challenged by the idea that Sage would think me capable of bringing out these underlying truths of all existence that humans have struggled with from time immemorial. My ego, of course, is flattered. But my ego is also challenged. Ah, the paradox. I was trained to think that God is the essence of all things, the source of all things. By Him all things are made and consist. The Creator and the creation being one, no separation. And yet all in my earthly experience cries out for separation. Where is this Creator? In the Wingmakers, there's a line that has always struck me powerfully. As the Creator is speaking, my vastness makes me invisible and unavoidable. Who is aware? The mystics touch the awareness. But if I am a mystic, I must admit that I don't always feel that awareness. I'm not always aware of that awareness. All of my life, love has been the key and central theme. And yet I recognize that there are times in my life that I have not behaved lovingly to those around me. I have fallen short of my expectation of myself. I have not met my ideal. And I don't mean that in the sense of meeting my spiritual other half or my spiritual partner. I mean the ideal of me, about me. Who am I? Ah, the big question of life. That many people in this generation are now pondering, and pondering very deeply as we are confronted with our world collapsing. For we have identified ourselves, most of us, perhaps all of us, to some degree or another, with how it seems in this world that the Eastern religions refer to as an illusion. And I think that's as much of a cop-out as the Western world thinking everything is separate and sinful. Things are never what they appear to be in this world, which is why I guess it's referred to as an illusion. There's always something deeper, something more to be experienced, and for those in the left brain, to be explained. But source and essence, while we grope for words to explain, it goes beyond explanation. Whatever explanation we come up with, there's more than that. There has to be more than that. I think. I feel. And sometimes I think and feel I know. And there's no doubt. But other times, that's just not the way it is. So I feel very vulnerable with this assignment, knowing that I don't have all the answers, or knowing that I do have all the answers, but they're not at my command in every given moment of my life. I've been asked many times to give readings to people. And once I actually did. I gave readings to about 4 or 5 people in a psychic fair, and I never did it again because I don't do well when I feel that somebody is demanding something of me. And I don't do well planning. I have known when I've done public speaking, when I've been the most prepared, I feel I've been the least effective. When I allow myself to be vulnerable, that's when I can connect. And it's a spontaneous thing. It just flows naturally. It's in the groove. It's in the zone. And I feel it. And when I don't feel it, I almost feel like I'm wearing a mask, like I'm not being genuine and authentic. So what I propose to Sage is that I do today's video on this subject and allow my expressions to be edited down to the 2 to 3 minute video that they're seeking for this documentary. And I have no idea how it's going to come out, how it's going to connect. But if there's anything I want to convey to you that are watching and listening, is I'm admitting what I've always admitted from the beginning with all of these videos, is that I'm the paradox man. Sometimes I'm up and sometimes I'm down. Sometimes I'm feeling so connected and sometimes I'm feeling absolutely scattered and not connected at all. And this is part of the human journey. I've accepted it. I've embraced it as such. I very rarely get into the position where I'm arguing with myself. I don't want this. I don't want this. Now, there are things that I don't want, but I've come more and more to accept that what is always has a gift in it. And I train myself to look for that gift. And I suggest that you might want to try that same thing. Don't think that you know it all. Because I know when I ponder questions like this, I realize I don't know it all. I don't have all the answers. And yet a part of me does. I'm also aware of that. But connecting the part that knows with the part that doesn't know, the Gnostic with the agnostic, both me, connecting those, having that marriage of the spiritual with the physical, the higher self with the ego. Yeah, I do believe that the ego has value. I do believe that this illusory experience called human life has meaning. I'm convinced it's true. Many don't think so. That's why they can propose a leap into another world that has no connection to this, leaving the illusion behind, because it's not real, because is meaningless instead of meaningful. So I don't know if I've answered the question for Sage or not. Sometimes I feel like I am a Bodhisattva or a Christ. Sometimes I feel enlightened. And sometimes I feel the great darkness that surrounds me. The cloud of unknowing. The cloud of uncertainty. And I realize my humanity. So these are my thoughts, Sage. These are my expressions. I'm not in the place right now today that things are flowing as I feel they sometimes do. I feel like there's a struggle going on to express something that in many respects is unexpressible. But I've done my best in this moment, which is all any of us can ever do. Our best in any given moment, in the here and the now. So I leave you with these thoughts to ponder in your own way or not. And whatever you choose, I choose to bless you and say namaste.